What is going on, YouTube? Here we go again. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of 2x2 Growing. Hope you're all having a really awesome day. All right, in tonight's episode, we are going to be going over 5 advanced growing tips that are going to push your growing skills to the next level. Let's start out with number 5, and that is going to be terpenes. Let's increase those terpenes. Let's get started. We are going to be starting out this advanced tips episode at the micro level, of course. And what we're going to be doing in this objective number 1 is trying to increase the stress on your roots. And you can do that with beneficial bacteria. You got to buy a product to do such a thing. There are multiple products out there that can help you do this. Our goal is to create the right amount of stress, just a minor amount of stress that's going to help increase the terpenes. It's going to make the plant think it's under attack a little bit by some bugs and really make sure its defenses are up there. Now we're going to switch it up a little bit from stressing it out from below to stressing it out from above. And that is right. You know what I'm talking about. Get an extra UV bar and put it inside your grow tent. You are going to stress out your plants in a magnificent way. Your final tip for getting the most amount of terpenes possible out of your plants is to keep that temperature around 74 degrees for the final few weeks of that flowering stage, because they go from a solid to a gas just like that. The next advanced grow tip I'm going to give you is one to do with the nutrients, and I'm going to go with one that makes your plant explode with growth, and that is nitrogen. Now, nitrogen is very good for your plant in the beginning stages of your plant development, but when it comes to the very end, you better not be using something that has a ratio of 20-20-20 across the board. You might have a bad taste if that is the case. The plant's metabolism slows down towards the end of flower, and it really doesn't need that much. If you're using soil or cocoa, if you haven't used that much, you won't need to flush your plants. If you're using DWC, you definitely will. Now, moving on to the next advanced growing tip, and that is trimming your plants the right way at the end of flower. And I used to do it wrong all the time. I know how it goes. You're very excited at the end of flower, and you just want to cut your plants up and see what you got. You want to see those nice, juicy buds there. But in reality, what you should be doing is not that disgusting wet trim. You should be waiting for that dry trim. When you do the wet trim, you take away from very valuable properties that are still left there. You want that extra moisture inside of the stems. You want those big stems to help draw out that drying process. You really do want a minimum of 10 days of drying time to actually allow the proper breakdown process of the chlorophyll. Another thing you really don't want to do to your plants at the very end, and that is handle them more than you need to. Just handle them by the big stems. That's it. The next advanced growing tip for you is maxing out your light. Now, this one might get a little controversial for some of you, but anyway, let's just get started here. So there's something called DLI, and that is your daily light integral, okay? And that is how much your plant can consume of light during a day. It has a maximum amount. So that's basically how much a lake or a river can take of rain per second compared to throughout the whole day. The accumulation might burst it from its seams. Let's step straight into the controversy now, and that is the veg stage, 24 hours light versus 18:6. So some people think it's mandatory that you get those 6 hours rest. That is not correct whatsoever. If you've not exceeded the DLI, you can have your lights on for 24 hours straight. That is not an issue whatsoever. You will not be harming your plants. There'll be no downside in the veg stage whatsoever. If you're wondering what that max is, it's around 65 moles per day. And the best way, personally, that I like to accomplish that is doing the 24 hours light. If you actually do the math in an 18-hour light cycle, You cannot accomplish the 65 moles to max out your plant within those 18 hours without actually stressing out your plant more. There is a maximum amount that your plant can handle in the second, and if you're going over that amount, you're just doing harm to your plant. And if you're trying to get that maximum of 65, well, you're going to be doing harm to your plant if it's within that 18 hours. It just is what it is. It's math, and you can't get around it. That's why I like to go with 24 hours. And I know there's going to be a bunch of controversy about this subject in the comment section. It is what it is. Finally, here we are at the last advanced growing tip for the day, and that is increasing your root growth. Very easily done if you don't overwater your plants, and I'm not even talking about overwatering by actual overwater damage. I'm just talking about letting your plants actually dry out in the vegetative stage. Let those roots stretch out, try to find that hydration. If it always has that hydration readily available, the roots won't stretch out nowhere near as much. More fruits, more roots, more roots, more fruits. You know the old saying. Anyway, I'm wrapping this episode up right about now, so please go down there and smash that like button. Take her easy, everyone. I will see you next time.